Hi, this is Dr. P, and although it may seem strange for a nuts and bolts entry on the channel, I'm going to talk about computers and other ways of backing up your design work rather than a nuts and bolts about a particular design facet. But this is really important because if you don't back up your work, then you have a significant chance of losing it all. And if you lose it, you'll never get it back, not all of it. I can tell you my experience about a hard drive crash when I was working at an Army Medical Center in 1990 or 91. Fortunately, I had backed it up. Now, backing up at that time was much harder than it is now. I had a stack of floppy disks at least 6 inches high that was my backup. I had to put them into the computer individually and then put the next one in and put the next one in. But I had that backup, and when my hard drive crashed, and I got a new one, I was able to reconstruct and lost virtually nothing. Nowadays, it's so much easier to back up. You have to be especially foolish not to do so. Now, ask yourself, how often do you hear of someone who lost all my work because they hadn't backed it up? I've certainly heard of it in several cases, even in recent years. Backing up usually involves computer files, but it can be backing up notebooks or writing or audio, and that's our topic. You can back up, that is to say copy, to a free online drive like OneDrive or Dropbox or Google Drive, or to an external drive when you plug into your computer, or to USB or what many people call a thumb drive. Now, in particular, USB prices have dropped so that even a 2 terabyte is under $35. Though I have to say, I recently got two 2 terabyte drives and they were flaky and I have to return them. So you've got to test these things once you get them. I had strange things happen, even copying files onto it, and the next day the folder was still there, but all the files underneath had disappeared. And formatting didn't help, even though I formatted one the old-fashioned way, and it took 5 days. It was still flaky. Now, the entirety of my game design files from 20 plus years is less than 100, well, I say less than 100 megabytes here, but I'm wrong, less than 100 gigabytes, actually. And that, of course, fits fine in a terabyte drive. My YouTube channel videos are considerably larger, but still less than a terabyte. If you have any facility with writing batch files or what are now called command files, you can easily automate. My batch file only copies new or newly modified files using the xcopy command. Why copy the ones that are already copied onto wherever your backup is? And here's an example on screen of how to copy to the D drive from a folder called games on the drive you're on. For a while, I had a batch to shut down my computer that first backed up the new files. But now, frequently, I don't shut the computer down overnight, and so I don't use that anymore. Now, what about audio? So I sometimes record via audio my ideas when nothing better is available, as in when I'm in a car. A smartphone can do this. I use a free app, but there's some recording facility built into most smartphones. Then you've got a digital or computer file that can be backed up like any digital file. It's easy to connect an Android phone to a non-Apple PC. Now with Apple, you got a little more difficulty. You can even email it to yourself if the file is fairly small. What about backing up a notebook? Some people like to write in notebooks rather than use a computer. Well, you can photocopy the notebook pages, but that's a hassle and it may cost you money. Or you can scan the pages if you have a scanner available, a flatbed scanner. But you probably have a digital camera, perhaps in your smartphone, so you can photograph your notes and then you back up the photos. So even a notebook is relatively easy to back up if you decide to do it. The trick is always deciding to do it. Now you also need off-site storage against natural disasters as well as fire. Probably most people listening know somebody who had a fire in their house and perhaps destroyed everything in it. An advantage of online storage is that if it's still there if your house is destroyed or robbed. On the other hand, the online storage is hacked fairly often, but while that's important for women who have nude photographs up there, and especially well-known women like Jennifer Lawrence, it's not a problem for a game designer in his games. Or you can copy to a physical drive, for example, a thumb drive, and take that to work and leave it there, or put it in a safe deposit box. So there are a number of ways to have offsite storage. So to conclude, folks, only a fool does not back up their computer files. Now, admittedly, there's a vast number of fools these days, and everyone is foolish occasionally. Thanks for listening.